Leadership Live. I'm Donnie Tuttle, your host, and I have the privilege of welcoming the one and only Tom Ziglar. He's the CEO of Ziglar Inc. And for more than 3 decades, Tom has carried forward one of the most trusted names in personal growth and leadership, transforming his father, Zig Ziglar's timeless wisdom into a global training and coaching enterprise for today's world. Super highly sought after. I'm so honored that he would be here. Organizations of every size work with Tom, and he's created a couple of amazing books you probably read and quoted from: Choose to Win and 10 Leadership Virtues for Disruptive Times. He's often imitated, never duplicated. Tom Ziglar. Tom, welcome to Leadership Live. And before you say hello, gotta crank up the music. Welcome to Leadership Live, Tom. Glad to have you with us.
Well, Donnie, you got my blood going, my juices flowing. I mean, that's kind of exciting the way you introduced me. I'm excited to be here. We are just grateful. Everywhere I go, every day, I meet new friends and family who were impacted by my dad, and carrying on that legacy and reaching new people is really what wakes me up and shakes me up every morning. So, just grateful for this time to talk.
Oh man, I appreciate it. I am super pumped. Listen, from the sidelines, one of my heroes. I've ever since we've been in the same little fuel circle here, I've been just itching to talk to Tom Ziglar. Tom, before we jump into anything, you can take either of these or both of these, but we've got a lot to talk about. And leaders, listen, if you've been wondering about legacy and how you can create it, give it, pass it, this is for you. Throw your questions in because we're going to dance with you. We're going to interact with you. If you're wondering how to turn your leaders into coaches and grow through coaching, drop that in. We want to answer those. We're going to talk to you. But Tom, before we get to any of those things, I need to know what's your passion or what's your mission? Take either or both.
Yeah, well, it's kind of wrapped into the same thing. So my personal mission statement is real simple. It is to create the atmosphere that allows you to become the person God created you to become. That comes from a faith perspective, but it works secularly as well. I mean, you could easily say, I want to create the atmosphere that allows you to become the best version of yourself. But I believe we're all called to a higher standing, and we can really impact people at a deeper level than just skills and success as the world defines it. And you do that through relationships,
Hmm.
right? And we live in this crazy time of AI that's changing everything. And I think what we're going to see in the next 18 months is going to really rock and shock a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's going to really, the people who are going to win, who are going to develop the companies that go to the next level, are the ones who know how to build those deep relationships. And to me, the most powerful way to build a relationship is through a coaching style where we're asking questions and listening at the very beginning. And so I wrap all that together, and that's what we do at Ziglar is we help people improve their performance largely through coaching based on the why and goals of that individual organization.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack in that, but you kind of put these things all together, Tom, and I want to get your input and feedback. Listen, I'm of the same ilk. Coach people to their calling, help them to create processes from their purpose, and yet, Tom, it is so easy in a world of AI for all of us to become almost like I feel like people are becoming slaves to AI. It's almost like AI is telling everyone what to do. And it's funny because some people are on there's different ends of that spectrum, but I want to know where and how does coaching fit in with all of this now that all information is available through just asking our chat buddy. Where does coaching, like how is coaching, how must it evolve, do you see?
Yeah. I'll give you an example. So at Ziglar, we've always been known as mindset, attitude, motivation, right? This ability to approach the world's problems in a certain way with hope and encouragement, and we're going to overcome it and we're going to make it happen. And so when we were doing a lot of corporate development and training, let's go back 25 years ago, our competitors would say, "Oh, you don't want Ziglar. All they are is attitude. They don't really teach you any skills." Which is funny because we taught all the same skills, but we just did it in a way that people wanted to learn it, right? And we,
Yeah.
well, guess what? You just said it. Knowledge and information, AI is now made a commodity. Anybody can go develop any skills-based program using AI with a little bit of background, and it's going to give them a pretty decent program. But the difference maker is going to be the philosophy, the heart, and the credibility of the person presenting that, whether they're the instructor in the front of the room or the coach. And so now, what are people really searching for? What's the differentiator? It's attitude, mindset, and I'm going to throw out the big word, and that is belief. You see, AI will never believe in you.
Mm, it'll say it does.
Yeah. And we'll go, oh, isn't it cute? But in our heart, it's math, right? We know that. And it's going to tell us what to do. But somebody we love and trust who looks us in the eyes and say, I believe in you, that's when we step out of our comfort zone, do something we didn't think we could do, and go to that next level. And so for all the leaders listening to this, that is your superpower. It's you've got to make AI your ally so that you perform at the highest level from a skills perspective. But it's those relationships that you develop that are going to change everything. And that's why on the corporate side, when we go in and do, we call it coach leadership. We coach leaders how to coach their people. We coach leaders the skills and the mindset of how to pour in their people and get the best out of them. It's not technical. It's they can go to AI and find, you should do this and this and this. But if your team member doesn't look to you and know that you believe in them, it doesn't matter.
Mm.
Right? That's the key. It's
So,
it's a very small percentage of people who are the self-motivated self-starters who figure it out on themselves, like less than 1%. They're the rare.
hmm
There's that 20% who are waiting eagerly for that leader to enter their life that says, you've got what it takes. Let me show you how. Let me hold you accountable. Let me pour into you.
I almost feel like one of our greatest jobs as leaders. I'm looking around for a sword because I used to have one, but I gave it away. But it's almost like we're looking for someone to knight us and to welcome us into a calling of some sort, or call us into adventure, or tell us who they are, who we are, what they see in us. But what I hear you saying there, Tom, is that information doesn't necessarily create transformation. It's a part of it, right? You have to have information, and so we should make friends with AI. I like how you said the AI ally. I like that, right? But the transformation is usually a work of partnership, where someone has to grapple and wrestle with this information in the field of battle, whatever that is, and come what may, they've got to put the pieces together after the fight. Is that where you see a coach coming in, or like?
Absolutely. So the technical stuff is in the lower levels, but the top two levels, I believe, in are transformation and belief.
Hmm,
So you use the transformation word, and so our businesses need to really be pointed towards and focused on how can we help people transform, and how can we transfer belief.
hmm,
Like when I coach somebody, what that client, if I'm a leader and I'm coaching a team member, what's really happening is, can I borrow some of your confidence so that I can go do what I didn't think I could? And if you don't believe in yourselves, first, how can you transform those you're entrusted with? And so that
wow.
transformation and belief, that's like the one, too. Um,
Hmm.
and we've always said it, people don't, they buy you before they buy your product or service.
Boy, I'm having some Zig Ziglar flashbacks because that was like the I was a sales trainer for years, Tom, and it's sales is belief in the ability to convey that belief. And sorry, pardon the horrible um,
You're, you're good.
impersonation.
I love it. I love it.
But it is true, right? There is the ability to take that, and that's why enthusiasm is contagious. It's taking what is there and in theos, right? We want to pour that into others. I want to ask. I'm gonna turn to the people out there in the world who are listening live. If you got something for Tom, and you're thinking, whether it's the complexity of how AI should be interacting with coaches, because this really should be a great coach empowerer. I think a lot of coaches are either head in sand and or others are threatened by it. But we can make friends with this, as you said, the AI ally. How should AI be making a coach better?
Yeah, well, I can tell you how we have equipped our coaches with it. We have a thing called Zig AI, and we took about 15 manuscripts of Dad's books and my books, our training programs. We loaded it into the silo. We took about 100 hours of audio transcripts of Dad's presentations. We put it into the silo. And then we trained it through a coaching lens. And so now when our coaches are coaching somebody, they can either take the transcript of that and drop it in to Zig AI and prompt it and say, hey, how would you recommend I coach this person? Or they can be live with the client and the client says, hey, I need some help with this. What do I do? Well, we can take that question real time, drop it in, and say, "Hey, how would what would be the Ziglar way of approaching this?" And it creates like instantaneous training plans. It's got all the Zig quotes in it. The best part about it, though, is it's not polluted by the internet. It's only
Mm,
pulling from the Ziglar sources, right? It's kind of unusual right now. Next year, probably everybody listening to this, if you wanted to, your own AI agent could create your own your own silo of whatever information you wanted in there and create the same thing. Why am I saying that? I'm acknowledging the fact that as good as that is for your client, the client is still borrowing confidence from you,
yes.
right? Whether they take action on that information you just pulled up on their behalf depends on whether they believe that you believe that it's going to change their life.
Mm.
And if they trust you and you believe that, then their likelihood of taking action is going to go to that next level. So
To,
that's how we use it. That's how AI is not the end all solution, right?
no.
It's not. It
It needs to augment what it is that we're doing. I think a lot of coaches are threatened by it. They're like, well, what if it takes my job? I feel like it's the same thing where it was like back in the days where people were in the loan business, they would say, well, if I'm not filling out this application with people in person, how am I supposed to have rapport? And it's like, I think you probably can move that to another part and actually create that in other ways. Do you think that this displaces some value that coaches, and not with Ziglar, but maybe outside some of the other coaches or some of these leader coaches, maybe they're afraid that people open up the curtain and see that the Wizard of Oz isn't the great and powerful Oz. He's just a regular guy like them.
if you're a coach or you're a leader and you're coaching somebody on your team and they ask you a question you don't know the answer to, the most powerful response you can give is, I don't know.
Mm,
It's like, so I just took all the pressure off of everybody listening to this. If you don't know the answer, look them in the eye and say, I don't know the answer. Let's discover it together. Because nobody knows all the answers, especially AI, right? Because it doesn't have a wisdom backbone, it doesn't have experience, it doesn't have 50 years of relationship knowledge that you have in your own domain. Years ago, Donnie, I took a class. This is right after I started in sales at the company. So this would have been 30, 35 years ago. And the class was called, behavioral science research was the underpinning of the content, and it had the sales law. So listen to the sales law. The top 5% of salespeople have one thing in common. They make more presentations to qualified prospects. That was it. If you want to be in the top 5%, you've got to make more presentations. Well, then you got to define what a presentation is, because a presentation is not a conversation. It is uncovering the need, discovering the obstacles, overcoming the objections, all that to qualified prospects. And so what it meant there is there's a time constraint. If I go and sell to somebody who doesn't have authority to buy or the capacity to buy, I've just wasted a certain amount of time. So what does that class that I took 30 years ago tell us today? That for us to grow our business, we need to make more presentations to qualified prospects.
Hmm.
So, what does that mean? We've got the greatest ally in the world with AI because it will save us so much time in identifying what a great presentation is and
Mm.
helping us to qualify prospects so that instead of 80% of our day trying to figure out who we're going to talk to, now 80% of our day can actually be talking to people about what's important to them because AI told us. And that's where people are missing it. And coaches, the what I see, and we've certified over 500 coaches. The biggest challenge coaches have is not their coach's heart, not their ability to ask great questions, not domain expertise. It's a sales and marketing weakness. They don't feel comfortable talking to people they don't know.
Mm.
So,
It is a bit in their defense. I don't want to say it's unnatural. It's just not the way that normal society works. It's an
no,
odd type of conversation.
no, it is. And it's not a knock, it's just it's an acknowledgement. And
Yeah.
so if I'm here to have a conversation with you and the answer I don't know is acceptable, and success means we move closer to our higher calling or purpose, not did we get the sale or not. Now we're in a pressure-free environment where we just get to serve people.
That definition of success completely gives a grace as opposed to some, I don't want to say false scenario, but I feel like, Tom, a lot of people are tired and worn out from carrying, like having to be perfect at whatever it is that they're doing, and actually thinking that that's a possibility I really feel like if they could just alter perspectives on what success is, that's a big key. There's something I wanted to ask you just because there's a term you that I've heard you use before, and I feel like that leaders on Leadership Live really need to bite into it. You talk about the coach leader. Can you tell us what that is? What's the difference between command control and coach leadership, and like spread a little bit of that love on us, Tom.
Yeah, most, probably 90% of people lead the way they were led. We learned it from somebody. We learned it from our dad. We learned it from our first job. We learned it from if we were in the military through that system. I mean, there's all kinds of places. And so in the corporate world, historically, it's been hierarchical, right? It has been command and control. It has been, here's your job role. This is what I want you to go do, report back. But if you look at people and you say, would you rather be told what to do or would you rather be asked what you think is a great way to do it? Everybody's going to say, I'd rather be asked,
Hmm.
right? I want to have some input into this. Now, the power of asking great questions is you can very quickly understand by the answers, what they say and what they don't say, where somebody is in their own awareness and their own maturity. And so, coach leadership is simply a way of bringing awareness to the person you're coaching to where they are, and then asking them thought provoking questions so that they end up creating their own plan, which means they now own it. And if somebody's not going to execute the own plan that they created, they're not going to do yours. And so we have five simple steps in our coach leadership. Step one is, what does success look like to you? So I need to know, if I'm coaching somebody, what is their definition of success? Because my job is to help them get it. And then second is, why is that important to them? And this gets uncomfortable if you do it too quickly or out of order. But if you're working for me and you say, "Hey, I want to be eligible for a promotion," and I say, "Well, what does that mean to you?" Well, I get a raise. Well, what does that mean to you? Well, I can pay off my debt and put some money away for kids' college. Oh, wow. So is that why I mean, ultimately, is that one of your why? Oh, yeah, that's one of my whys. Well, I'd like to help you put your kids through college. Could we put together a plan together? Oh, yeah, I'd love that. So then the third step is, what are the performance opportunities? How could you be more effective with your attitude, effort, or skill? Yeah, okay. So they tell me, I don't tell them. Like, I've noticed they show up grumpy every morning. I mean, I could tell them, look, you need to go to bed an hour earlier. You need to get up 45 minutes earlier. You need to have your breakfast and your coffee. You need to have some time alone to get your mindset right. You need to put some Zig Ziglar in the car when you drive in, right? And I could tell them all that. It's going to go right over their head.
Doesn't matter.
But if I ask them, how could you improve your attitude? And they tell me those things, now we've made some progress. So we identify those. That's step three. Step four is we co-create the plan. I'm like, okay, what's the plan? Write it down. How are you going to develop that attitude? And then they're going to say, well, I'm going to put Zig in the car on the way in. Great, write that down. Commit to it. And then step five is just accountability heartbeat. Every week I'm meeting with them. And a lot of people, their eyes roll back in their head. Wait a second, I'm too busy to meet with my people now. How am I going to meet with all my direct reports every week? Well, you're already meeting with them. I'm talking about being intentional.
Hmm.
Let's
Talk,
just,
like, talk to you. What do you mean we're already meeting with them?
yeah, you're already, hey, did you get that project out?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
right.
did. Hey, how did that sales call go? Oh, it went great. Well, great. Last week we talked about this. How's your progress on developing that attitude? Now we're intentional. We suddenly got back into those five steps.
And for you coaches and you leaders who are aspire, like you leaders who are like taking the mantle of coach, like I want you to see what Tom has given us because there's so much pressure being the guy or gal with all the answers. But it's so much better to be the one with all the questions. And so you really gave us that question funnel. So we don't have to be the Wizard of Oz and know everything. And it's just like, even if you do know, it's probably malpractice to bring that to the table a lot of times. It's more important to draw that out of them. The
Yep.
masterful.
Yeah, it is. It's just like, so I do so much leadership development and training for companies, and a question that always comes up is, I have these people and they're always trying to get me to solve the problem, right? And
Yeah.
as a leader,
Talk to us. That's half of our population listening right now, Tom. 100%, at
as a
least.
leader, I want them to come up with solutions. And so there's a three-in-one solution, which I love, which is, in your culture, just say, hey, if when you identify a problem, I want you to bring it to me, but I want you to bring me three different possible solutions and then tell me the one you like. And so if somebody says, will you solve this problem? I ask them a question. Hey, have you thought of possible solutions? And if the answer is no, then I ask them another question. Let's go ahead and set a meeting for tomorrow at this same time where you bring in three possible solutions and the one you like best.
Most of us, Tom, at that point, we're gonna fine, I'll solve it. It's almost like we may know the three in one. And by the way, again, same thing earlier. We said information doesn't equal transformation. That's for you, the coach, too. We know we're supposed to, but having the guts and the backbone, and it's not mean or threatening in any way. It's just okay, great. I,
Yeah.
I love how you.
And what happens is if you give them the answer and they go execute it, you've transferred no belief. There's no transformation. If they go away and they come back with a really good solution, not perfect, but good, man, you can say, wow, that's great thinking. Show me how you thought about that. I love that. Did you consider this? Okay, great. I see how you're handling that. Man, you need to do more of this. I mean, you were made for this,
Hmm.
right? All of a sudden, we're affirming their core values,
Yeah,
right?
that
Not the
drives.
result. Like if I only like recognize somebody for results, and then the market changes and they don't get the results anymore, then their identity gets hit. But if I
Got it.
recognize them as the person who's creative in solving whatever problem that comes when the market changes, their identity hasn't changed. It's like, oh, it's a new world. I got to come up with more creative ways. That's who I am. And so that's why it's we hesitate to do the 3-in-1 or whatever the terminology is and how you heard it. It's old school. I mean, that's nothing new. But we never really understand why it makes the difference. It's because we're getting people, we're transforming, we're helping them transform by transferring our belief into them so they can see that they're the best problem solver in the world. That's who I
Hmm.
want on my team
That's
is
it.
problem solvers of high character who only want to serve the problems of the people we serve.
That's it. That's
That's
it.
it.
And you've activated a spirit inside of another being, and you've multiplied any effort that you think you could provide. Tom, I want to dig into a little bit before we go here. I want to talk about legacy. And because we have a lot of people here who are nearing the tail end and they're wanting to pass the torch, pass the baton. Some people right now are working with like and trying to build that next tenure of leaders to hopefully take their place. But you did something that was like I don't want I wouldn't say impossible because you've done it, but it might be the most difficult scenario. You took a legendary personality driven brand and you turned it into a scalable thought leadership, business coaching, like all of the speaking, all of the stuff that you do now. How, how? I guess the short question is how? Like how did you do that?
Yeah, we had a board member way back when, and they said this comment. They said, it's easier to start a company from scratch than to reinvent a company with a brand.
Yeah.
And I'm here to testify that that's true. In my own personal life, when I first started speaking, it was terrible. My stomach would go in knots and all this angst, and people wanted me to speak. And I'm like, okay, I'll go. And then I would speak and I would get good reviews. And after doing that a dozen times, I'm like, why am I doing this? Right? I'm killing myself. And then I asked the deeper question, which is, why do I feel that way? And I told myself a lie. And the lie was that I told myself is I thought people wanted me to be like my dad.
Mm,
But the truth is they wanted me to be me, but they wanted me to have my dad's same principles and values.
mm,
Well, that just set my inner nerd free, right? Because I've got a dry sense of humor and I don't have the charisma and I don't run around on the stage and do all the classic Zig Ziglar stuff, right? I don't do that.
right.
And so, in building a legacy, you've got to be your authentic person, building on your own skills, your what you believe in, your gifts and talents. And then what you've got to do is you've got to develop people around you who can do what you do better than you do. If your dad had this great quote, if you're irreplaceable, you're unpromotable.
Oh.
And so the reason that we have over 500 certified Ziglar speakers and over 500 certified Ziglar coaches is because I wanted to equip them with this life-changing philosophy and they could go back to their own businesses, their own markets in their own way and carry this legacy on better than I could. Because I'm not a financial advisor, but we have a bunch of financial advisors who use our training to help build legacy accounts,
Mm,
right? Because if you are wealthy, you don't want to leave an inheritance. You want to leave a legacy,
yeah.
right? And so if I leave my family all this money and they waste it, what's the point? But if I leave my family this money and they use it for good and they make wise decisions with it and they have a fulfilling life, not that it's not going to have hardship, that's a legacy.
Mm,
And so the legacy is, I would say it's around the seven areas of life: the mental, the spiritual, the physical, the family, the financial, the personal, and the career. And so you've got to be strong in all those areas.
there's a heartbeat that's similar in between these, and I'm just kind of I'm like this the Polaroid is developing here as you're saying it. But what we're talking about, or at least what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is first off that you're taking from what was given to you, but it's more, but you're allowing it to develop the God-given gifts and talents that you're bringing uh, um, to bear to the market. But there's a difference. That There's so many people that are stingy with information. They're stingy. By the way, like it's all exposed now. AI, like there's nothing hidden, but it is. But they've almost viewed what they have, their theories, their process, their information, whatever, as like a possession. But what you describe it is more like a gift. And when you view it as a gift rather than a possession you're always fighting to like protect, but a gift you're always looking for ways to be generous and to give. And it sounds like that's when you walk into, like you said, financial advising offices or whatever, you're looking for ways to multiply, not um, create some never-ending way for them to pay money to you. You're
Yeah, 100%. I'll use a metaphor story. A good friend of mine, Rabbi Daniel Lapin, says that there's two kinds of people in the world. There's cake people and there's candle people. Cake people, they look at their piece of cake, and everybody in life is given a piece of cake. And they look around, and if they see that your piece of cake is bigger than theirs, then they think you got some of my cake because there's only a certain amount of cake to go around. I got a little piece, you got a big piece, you got some of mine. And then there's candle people. And candle people, they look down at their candle, and their candle is their gift or talent or ability or the way that they make a difference, right? That's their candle. And so they look around for people, and everybody's got candles that are unlit, right? And so they look around for these unlit candles that match their candle, and they go up to them and they say, "Hey, can I light your candle?" And when they solve that problem, there's more light in the world. And so you're either going to go through life thinking somebody's got my piece of cake, or I've got this candle.
mm,
And the more people I share it with, the more light there is. And that candle for me, it's the gifts and talents and abilities that you have, and it resonates with the problem that you solve, how you make the world better, how you pour into people. And a lot of us are blessed to work with companies that solve a lot of great problems. And so
mm,
every time you make a sale for your company, you're bringing light to the world.
yeah.
So
That
legacy is kind of the same way. It's like if you're so like protective of the money and you're going to put it in a trust and there's going to be all these rules, and yet you never poured into your kids so that they can make good decisions. You never lit your candle, never lit what was important, right? It's not the result of what you did. It's
it's
how you built.
interesting.
Right?
Back to how you started this whole conversation in the beginning was build relationships.
Yeah.
Build, build relationships. Tom, I could talk to you for a long time. I hope I get to do this again. Um, I'll give you a proper exit and outro, but for those of us who are trying to help our leaders to become the coach leader, the leader coach, for those of us who are looking to take some of this generosity and spread it into our cultures and organizations. Can you tell us where to find and how to engage with the one and only Tom Ziglar?
Yeah, so you can go to Ziglar.com, but even better, my email, I'll answer it. And that is tom@Ziglar.com. So I'm a big believer in coaching. We now have a new way of delivering coaching where we actually pay you to coach your people. And so if you're a business that's got more than 10 employees, and that's an intriguing tag, uh,
Ooh.
just just send that. So it's a crazy world we're living in, but a lot of things are making that possible. So if you'd like to be paid to have somebody else coach your people, and they get the coaching for free, by the way. So
I'm gonna leave off here, but I couldn't end this podcast, Tom, if I didn't ask you about your Be the Light initiative. And I know this is it might feel like a U-turn, but I know it's important to you, and I feel like it's important to a lot of the people that are going to resonate with that. And can you share us with that, and then we will kiss everyone goodbye for the day.
yeah. So at the end of last year, we developed a new program for leaders, influencers, and coaches, and it's called Be the Light. And the premise is that culturally, the number one challenge that people have is discerning and discovering the truth. Like there's so many lies that are out there. We're on social media, we see all these false claims. There's this division between, conservatives and liberals and, all these things, and families are being torn apart. And so I said, you know what? How do we discern and discover the truth? And so we developed this thing called a truth compass and then a truth filter. And then we have a 6-stage process and Be the Light. And as we came out with that, we saw the power in it. But what we discovered was something even more important. And that is this: as important as it is to discern and discover the truth culturally, the big challenge is the lies that we believe about ourselves.
Mm,
I mean, all of us have been knocked down. We've been told we can't. We've had a trauma. We've done something. And then for the rest of our lives, that impacts our ability to take on a new role or to make a certain call or to have a relationship go to a certain level. Why? Because we believed a lie, right? We've believed a lie. And so what we've created is a process that says, how do you discern and discover the truth about who you are and what you believe? And so if there's something that's holding you back, these 6 stages take you through that. So I'm really excited about that because we're living in a world where mindset and belief is everything.
mm.
Uh, think about this. Within the next 18 months, maybe 3 years at the outside, millions of people, their identities are going to be rocked to the core
100%.
because because the way they do work is no longer the same.
Hmm.
And then they have a mindset shift they've got to make. They've either got to say, which is the most likely, well, I'm done. I'm 55 years old. I'm too old to learn this stuff. Who's going to take me? Or they're going to say, I'm 55 years old. I've got 30 years of industry experience. How do I make AI my ally so that I can serve more people at a higher level? And some of them are going to be in the greatest time in their life, and others are going to be devastated. And the only difference is whether they believe a lie that they've told themselves.
Mm. Tom Ziglar, thank you for being generous with us today. He is the man who coaches coaches. And today, if you're a leader, he has made you just a little bit better. And we know that if you can, whoops, there we go. If you can lead better, you can live better. Tom, thanks for bringing the greatest show to us today. We appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you, Donnie.